Your greatest opponent is not outside of you. It's not your past. It's not the doubters, the critics, the obstacles, or the failures. It's you, the version of you that settles, the you that makes excuses, the you that's afraid. But here's the truth. There's another version of you, the one who's relentless, focused, powerful beyond measure. This is the battle, you versus you, and the outcome of your life depends on who wins. Today, we stop running. Today, we face the mirror. Because the only thing standing between you and everything you're capable of is you. There is a war being fought every day, and it's not in the streets. It's not on a battlefield. It's in your mind. It's in your heart. It's behind your eyes when you stare at your reflection. This isn't you versus them. This is you versus you. The greatest enemy you'll ever face is not someone out there trying to hold you back. It's the version of you that whispers, "You're not good enough." It's the voice that tells you, "Maybe tomorrow." It's the hesitation that creeps in every time you feel a spark of courage. That voice doesn't yell. It doesn't demand. It suggests. It doubts. It waits. And slowly, it convinces you that you're better off staying where you are. But here's the truth. There are two versions of you living in the same body. One is driven, focused, hungry, and ready to rise. The other is afraid, tired, complacent, and holding you back. You feel them both every day. The powerful you wakes up and says, "Let's do this. Let's go all in." But the weaker you hit snooze and whispers, "Just 5 more minutes." The stronger you has a vision clear, powerful, unstoppable. But the other you tells you it's safer not to try. Why risk failure? Why risk rejection? Why stand out? And if you're not aware, if you don't recognize the enemy within, you'll think that voice is you. But it's not. It's the version of you shaped by fear, and fear loves comfort. Which brings us to the next battlefield, the comfort zone. Because the inner enemy is never stronger than when you're comfortable. It feels good there, doesn't it? No risk, no pressure, no failure. You know what to expect. You know how to function. Even if you're miserable, you know how to be miserable. That's how twisted it gets. Comfort doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't come with flashing red lights. It comes with warm blankets and good excuses. It says things like, "You deserve to rest. You've been through enough. It's not the right time. You'll start next week." And because those lies sound kind, they're easy to believe. But make no mistake, comfort is a trap. It doesn't challenge you. It doesn't stretch you. It doesn't ask you to grow. It asks you to stay still. It rewards your past and punishes your future. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you strengthen the version of you that's trying to keep you small. But the most dangerous part? You start to defend your comfort zone. You begin to call it realistic. You tell yourself you're just being smart. You make peace with a life that doesn't even feel like yours. You settle, and settling is how dreams die quietly, not with a crash, but with a sigh of, "This is just how it is." But it's not. You know it. You feel it. There's a voice deep inside you that doesn't want easy. It wants meaning. It wants fight. It wants challenge. It wants the version of you who wakes up with fire in their chest, not fear in their bones. That version of you is already there. It's already alive. But it's outnumbered. Every time you choose the easy path, you vote for the weaker you. And every time you push through resistance, no matter how small, you starve the weak you. You feed the strong one. This is the real fight, not against critics, not against failure. It's the fight between the part of you that wants to grow and the part of you that just wants to feel good right now. So the question is simple. Which version of you are you going to let win today? Because whether you rise or fall, it was never them. It was always you versus you. There comes a moment in everyone's life when motivation fades. The adrenaline runs out. The music stops. The hype dies down. And all that's left is you and choice. In that moment, discipline becomes the only thing that keeps you moving. Because here's the truth. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. You will not always feel like doing what's necessary. You will not always feel inspired, confident, or strong. But you don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't want to. The strongest version of you doesn't wake up driven every single day. They wake up committed. Discipline is what separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, the average from the unstoppable. But here's the hard part. Discipline feels like pain in the beginning. Waking up early when no one else is. Going to the gym when your body aches. Studying, working, training, sacrificing. It all feels like suffering. But let me tell you something most people never realize. Discipline is a form of self-love. It's saying, I will not let myself stay small. I will not keep betraying my future for the comfort of right now. It's choosing to suffer in the short term so you can grow in the long term. Every excuse you make is a vote for the old you. Every time you show up anyway, when it's boring, hard, lonely, or inconvenient, you cast a vote for the strongest version of you. This is the rise of discipline. And it's not flashy. It's quiet. It's gritty. It's unshakable. But to rise into that version of you, something else has to happen. You have to face your fears, and not just the ones out there in the world. You have to face the fears that live inside you. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of success, the fear of being seen, the fear of not being enough. These aren't just feelings. These are walls, and they're standing between the version of you that is and the version of you that could be. You want to know why you haven't grown into your full power yet? Because deep down, you're still trying to protect the parts of you that are afraid. And as long as you're protecting your fear, you're trapping your future. There are versions of you that need to die. If you're going to rise, the version of you that plays small, the version of you that blames other people, the version of you that waits for permission, the version of you that hides your gifts out of fear of failure, they all have to go. That doesn't mean you hate who you were. It means you've outgrown them. It means you're finally ready to stop being loyal to the weaker version of you just because it's familiar. Facing your fears is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming stronger than your fear. It's about walking into the darkness and saying, I'm not running anymore. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, It's going to feel terrifying. Yes, there will be moments when you want to turn back. But here's what you'll find. On the other side of that fear is freedom. Because the fear was never real power. The fear was a signal. It was pointing to where your breakthrough lies. Run from fear, and you stay the same. Face it and you transform. This is the part where most people quit. They come face with their fears, and they choose comfort. They choose silence. They choose numbness. They choose survival. But you didn't come this far just to survive. You came here to win. And you can't win this fight until you're willing to bury the old version of you, the scared version, the small version, the one who waited, hesitated, and doubted. Let them go. Because only when you face what you fear can you rise into everything you were meant to be. At some point, every person who's chasing growth runs headfirst into a wall called the past. The stories we've lived, the pain we've carried, the mistakes we've made, and even worse, the identities we've built around them. You say you want a better future, a new you, a different life. But how can you rise when you're still shackled to who you used to be? Let me be real with you. You are not your past, but the past will keep owning you if you keep believing you are. Because the enemy within, it knows your history. It knows every time you failed, every time you were rejected, every time you gave up. And it uses those memories as weapons. You've always quit when things got hard. You never finish anything. Why would this time be any different? And that voice, it sounds a lot like truth, doesn't it? Because it uses real events. But it tells a false story. A story that says, you're not built for this. A story that says, you don't deserve more. But just because something happened doesn't mean it has to be who you are. You are allowed to rewrite your story. You are allowed to become someone new. You are allowed to outgrow the version of you who didn't know better, who played small, who let fear win. The past should be a lesson, not a life sentence. Yet too many people wear their pain like a badge. They keep proving their limitations instead of rewriting their possibilities. You're not here to prove who you were. You're here to reveal who you can become. But that can't happen until you stop letting your past speak louder than your purpose. You've got to let go of the shame. You've got to forgive the version of you who made the wrong decisions. You've got to stop replaying the failures in your mind like they're still happening. Because here's the truth. Your past only has power if you keep giving it a microphone. Now, once you've faced your past and loosened its grip, the next battle begins. This one isn't about who you were. It's about who you are right now. And the battlefield is the mirror. Because, at the end of the day, the most honest conversation you'll ever have is with your reflection. The mirror test is simple. Can you look at yourself and tell the truth? Not the highlight reel. Not the excuses. Not the filtered version of your life you show to the world. I'm talking about the raw, unedited version of you. The one who knows when you're lying to yourself. The one who remembers every time you said, tomorrow. The one who sees what no one else sees, your potential and your avoidance of it. Accountability is not punishment. It's a mirror. It says, did I show up today? Did I honor the promises I made to myself? Did I give my best, or did I settle? And the scary part? The mirror doesn't lie. If you've been drifting, you'll see it in your eyes. If you've been playing small, you'll feel it in your chest. If you've been hiding, the mirror will ask you why. Most people avoid the mirror. They avoid silence. They avoid stillness because deep down, they know what they'll find. A version of themselves they've been avoiding for years. But let me tell you something powerful. Change starts when honesty begins, when you finally stop pointing fingers, when you stop blaming your parents, your past, your circumstances, when you say, if it's going to happen, it's on me. That's when things shift. Accountability isn't cruel, it's freedom. Because the moment you take full responsibility for where you are, you gain full control over where you're going. You don't need perfection. You don't need to get it right every single day. But you do need truth. You need to stop breaking promises to yourself and calling it self-care. You need to stop avoiding the mirror and calling it being gentle. Being gentle with yourself isn't about avoiding accountability. It's about loving yourself enough to demand more, because you are capable of more. You've just been too distracted, too busy, or too afraid to face it. But now is the time to look in the mirror, to own your choices, to say, from this moment forward, I'm taking the lead. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy, not when the stars align, now, this is you versus you. And the mirror is where the fight gets real. There's a prison that most people live in, and they don't even see the bars, it's called comfort. Comfort looks innocent. It feels warm. It whispers in your ear, take it easy. You've done enough. You deserve a break. But make no mistake, comfort is the enemy of growth. The life you dream of, the potential you talk about, the greatness you say you want, it does not live in comfort. It lives in discomfort, in the reps you don't feel like doing, in the conversations you're afraid to have, in the early mornings, in the late nights. In the quiet moments when you're tempted to quit but you keep going, you see, comfort feels good but it costs everything, it costs progress, it costs purpose, it costs your dreams. Every time you choose what's easy over what's right, you feed the weaker version of you. And here's the truth people don't like to say. Comfort is addictive, the more you choose it, the more it controls you. You'll tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. I'll push later. I just need a break right now. But that right now becomes a lifestyle, a pattern, a habit. And then, one day you wake up and you're stuck, not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't talented, but because you kept choosing comfort over character. The version of you that's playing it safe, the version of you waiting for the perfect moment, that version is killing your greatness. And the thing about greatness, it doesn't knock, it doesn't wait, it doesn't hand itself over. Greatness has to be fought for. And the fight is not out there in the world, it's in you. Every morning you wake up, you are in a battle. You versus your excuses. You versus your laziness. You versus your doubt. You versus your distractions. You versus your fear. And the only way to win that battle is to show up. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because that's where greatness is forged, not in ease, but in effort. There will be days you're exhausted. Days when nothing's going right, days when your mind says, what's the point? And those are the days that build you. Not the sunny days, not the perfect conditions, the stormy ones. Because here's what most people never understand. Your power is not proven in how well you perform. When it's easy, your power is proven in how well you endure when it's hard. Success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most consistent, to the ones who show up battered, bruised, tired, scared, and refuse to back down. It's not about perfection. It's about resilience. It's about doing the work when no one's watching. It's about pushing one more time when you have nothing left. It's about reminding yourself, I may not be the best yet, but I will not be outworked. If you only work when you feel motivated, if you only show up when it's convenient, you will never taste greatness. Because greatness doesn't come from ease, it comes from sacrifice. It comes from pushing through. When your mind says stop, it comes from digging deep when everything in you says just give up. It comes from the choice to be disciplined, even when comfort is screaming your name. Listen to me closely. The life you want is on the other side of hard. And the question is not, can you do it when it's easy? The question is, will you do it when it's not? Because in that moment when it hurts, when it's lonely, when it's silent, that's where the old you dies and the new you is born. Not in one big moment, but in the thousand small choices to keep going. Every time you say yes to growth and no to comfort, you're building the mindset of someone who wins. Not just once, not just when people are watching. But forever. There comes a time when motivation runs out. There comes a moment when the applause fades, the crowd disappears, and no one is watching. And in that silence, there is only you. The weaker version of you will beg for comfort. The stronger version, the one buried deep inside, will whisper, keep going. That voice, that whisper, that's the inner warrior. It's the part of you that doesn't care how long it takes. It doesn't care how heavy it feels. It doesn't care if no one claps, cheers, or recognizes your effort. Because the inner warrior isn't driven by applause. It's driven by mission. You don't find your inner warrior in the light. You forge it in the fire, in the struggle, in the rejection, in the doubt, in the pain. But here's the catch. Most people will never meet their inner warrior. Why? Because they quit before the war even begins. They think discipline is punishment. They think repetition is boring. They think hard means wrong. So they tap out. They convince themselves, maybe I'm not made for this. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you haven't built the identity of someone who doesn't quit. And identity is everything. If you keep seeing yourself as the person who tries, if you keep saying things like, I've always struggled, or that's just who I am, then you will never rise beyond the limits of that label. Your words shape your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your actions. Your actions shape your identity. And your identity shapes your future. So what would happen if you started telling yourself a new story? I am the kind of person who keeps going no matter what. I am the kind of person who outlasts difficulty. I don't fold, I fight. That's how you train the warrior within. It starts with how you speak to yourself. Then it shows up in how you act when no one is watching. Because that's where real victory lives. Not on the stage, not on the scoreboard, not in the comments or the spotlight, Real victory lives in the dark. It lives in the early mornings when your alarm goes off and your body says, no. But you get up anyway. It lives in the lonely nights when you're grinding while everyone else is out. And you keep pushing. It lives in the discipline to show up when no one's watching, clapping, or even noticing. Winning in the dark is the secret to becoming unstoppable in the light. Because the truth is, there is no such thing as an overnight success. There is no magic. There is only work, and most of that work is invisible. The world will only see the results. They'll call you lucky. They'll say, must be nice. But they'll never know what it cost you. They won't see the nights you cried, but kept going. They won't see the hours you sacrificed. They won't see the fear you fought through. But you will. You will know. And that is what makes the win real. See, there's a kind of confidence that doesn't come from ego. It comes from keeping promises to yourself, from stacking days of silent effort, from choosing growth when no one's forcing you to. That's the confidence of a warrior. Not loud, not arrogant, not boastful, but rooted. Unshakable. Earned. If you want to win the war between you and you, you need to stop chasing recognition and start chasing character, because results will fade. Trophies collect dust, applause dies down. But who you become in the dark, that's yours forever. It's easy to look good for a moment. But can you stay disciplined when the progress is slow? Can you stay consistent when no one notices? Can you keep believing in yourself when the world doesn't? This is where 99% of people give up. Not because they aren't talented. Not because they aren't smart, but because they're addicted to being seen. But the warrior trains in silence. The warrior sharpens their sword when no one's looking. The warrior doesn't need validation to keep moving, because they know the battle is you versus you, and victory belongs to the one who outlasts.